Is it Saturday or is it Sunday? I'm a little bit under the weather. That's what happens when you let people into your house for the holidays. You know, it's something we probably shouldn't do. We should always just live under a bunker and live in the metaverse, you know, with our cell phones. And no, I'm completely kidding. And it is surprising that, yes, that people actually like me to where they travel to come to my house to hang out and eat food, right? Anyway, I am digressing. Hope all of you guys have had an amazing weekend. Yes, I know I'm a day late because we had round one of the Arena Cross on Friday night, which I really think is a great idea that Arena Cross has been doing for a couple years now, is they're leaving the limelight for Supercross for Saturday. They don't want to split viewers because that's always a bummer when you have to try to figure out what you're going to watch and how you're going to watch it. Friday is a perfect placeholder for having a pro round Arena Cross. And truthfully, I'm actually really enjoying the whole package at what is it called here? It is Arena Cross All Access. So here, if I open up into my screen here, we've got Arena Cross. You just go to their plain website, you go watch, and you go All Access, and boom, you're logged right in. And it's very simple. It's not like Peacock where you're like, hey, is it Supercross? Wait, no, is it Motocross? Is it MX? Is it Super Motocross? It's very confusing. Is it 2023 Motocross, Arena Cross? No, it's actually timed perfectly in there. It's sorted. It's actually a really good setup and package. And yes, this is from Mav TV. And one of the reasons why I feel like Mav TV does a better job with Arena Cross than it did Motocross is just because of the cameras. You need less cameras for Arena Cross than you do Motocross. And that was one of the big things that was probably why Motocross wasn't the best. Yes, I've talked to the powers that be about all that deal, and they were moving over to Peacock. And so that is what it was, right? But Arena Cross is doing an exceptional job with their all-access pass. I love it. I hope you guys continue to watch and support this stuff because, yes, it is college racing compared to the professional stuff, but you did have a lot of guys show up for this stuff. And what I mean by that is you had a lot of the top-tier guys. You had Wageman, you had Politelli, you had Lesher, you had, Breeze. You know, you had guys show up on the 450s and 250s that are getting ready for Supercross, whether they're going to race West Coast or East Coast or the 450 or their 250. It doesn't matter. You bring what you want. Honestly, I need to talk with Robbie and the guys at Arena Cross to see if they would allow a Stark, if you were to show up on a Stark, right? Could you imagine Travis Pastrana showing up on a Stark and boom? Hey, somebody else in the chat says that they're under the weather as well. Man, I feel you. Metaverse. Let's do some cough syrup shots, right? Because you're not supposed to really pay attention to the label on there that says, not have, what is it, 4 or 5 milliliters per day or something that says don't drink the whole bottle, but it's more fun if you drink the whole freaking bottle. But anyway, I'm getting lost. The track itself here, let me just show you in Arena Cross. If I'm showing this stuff and you gotta don't remove the video because I showed it. The track right here. Let's watch this little guy. The hardest part of the whole track, you got Carroll here and Breeze behind, was this triple on off. That was the gnarliest part of the entire track. It was actually a really good track. I mean, arguably, you could say that it was better than the Abu Dhabi over in World Supercross, which, again, you got to give those guys a bone because of the sheer fact of it's across the ocean. I just threw my Apple Pen. It's across the ocean, and, you know, they didn't have the proper equipment. But there at Boise, Idaho, it's where Fly Racing is from, so I'm sure a bunch of those guys checked out the whole Western Power Sports division there. But anyway, the track was well maintained. It did break up and it got real soft. The whoops became almost a straightaway with a little V there. You saw some guys like Kyle Peters that was jumping through him. Honestly, his riding style, I don't dig with the most, even though he's the fastest guy. He's the champion. He's going after 5 champions there. He ends up being a little bit elbows down around corners, and he does kind of the Ryan Villapoto riding style where you're riding in the middle of the bike, where a lot of the other guys that I have looked up to, like Kevin Windham and Ryan Dungey, they like to ride way up on front of the bike, and turn it a little bit with their hips from the front rather than a little bit the rear. It does work, like Carmichael. He was really roll back, and he got away with it, but the track design was good. There was a couple spots where if you went to the inside, it was an option. Actually, there was 3 lanes that had different options where the outside was a bigger lip for these guys, but everyone just ended up doing one real line, and there wasn't any massive takeouts yet. Stank Dog wasn't there. I was surprised he didn't show up for the 2-stroke brawl, because they had the 2-stroke brawl down there, and friend of the channel, Jared Lesher, he ended up getting second. So here, if I bring up those results as well, hats off to Justin Rodbell. It goes out with $5,000. He looked like he needed to take a nap afterwards because he could barely breathe. But Jared got second. I believe he walks home with $2,000 to $3,000. It was $20,000 purse. So that's good paycheck for those boys. Absolutely really good paycheck for those boys. And if you guys don't know how it is set up in Arena Cross, is they'll do 4 heats, and then they'll do 2 semis, 2 LCQs. Oh, I got fingers up. I can't count. 2 LCQs, and then they'll do 2 pro mains and 1 B main. So there's lots of racing. And if you're somebody like me that doesn't get into the pro main, right? You're like, oh, I'm just going to go home. No, you still line up and you race the B main. It's just how it is. There's plenty of racing. And the biggest thing that I enjoy about how they're setting this up is after the first main, it's a reverse start. So when you line up, and this is the thing that I thought World Supercross should have done when they have these triple headers where you're racing 3 different times. Yes, the laps get longer. I like that, right? You've got the Dash for Cash, Super Pole. In Arena Cross, it's called 1v1. But they added a 3rd guy this year. They added a 3rd guy so those guys, the riders, can't get together and go, hey, let's just phone it in so we take the cash. I like that. You get a wild card in there that could maybe take the cash away from both riders. My point being is when you switch the gate, meaning if you have a double gate and you have riders starting on the back and starting on the front, if you qualified like shit, you're starting back row. But if you still race like shit and you finish like 15th or something, the next main, you have first gate pick. Last to first. It is ironic, though, that the riders that end up doing well, in particular, at least this race right there in Boise, Idaho for round 1 and 2, you had Peters and Breeze end up basically up front the entire time. They're 1 and 2 in points, and it didn't matter if they won the first main, they were going to be on the podium in the second main starting from dead last. But it is good for the sponsors. That's for a privateer, somebody that's up and coming. If you don't race that well, right, or you're just not that fast, you're going to be able to potentially lead laps in that second main event. And it's the longer main event. It's around 20 laps where the first one's around 10. So that's good for your sponsors. That is a selling point. Not to mention that they have the whole Motivate app, where if you want to give a guy like Jared Lesher some money to say, hey, if you win the race, I'll give you an extra $500. Well, you don't lose that $500 until he actually wins the race. If he doesn't, it still stays in your little account, and you can do it for next year or anything. But part of my whole clickbaity title about the AMA made a kind of a difficult decision. You had a rider that I can't find anything on the internet right now, Simone, where he ended up going into the wall, and he was there for 5, 7, 8 laps before they red flagged it, where they had to get him off on a stretcher. So if there's anybody in the comments below, hey, there's some guys talking about Ethereum here saying it got up to 2,100. Hey, appreciate all the crypto investors out there. Talked about that earlier today on a different show, but Bitcoin over 40K, like, woohoo, sweet, it's good. Just sucks that inflation is still rampant and groceries are incredibly expensive. I went to Walmart. I don't know why I even went to Wally World today, but I was trying to do a little bit of meal planning. Actually, my wife was, because I'm too stupid to do that stuff. I just kind of pay for it. Anyway, what I thought was going to be $100 in groceries was like $250. But I'm digressing. My point, if I can remember what I was talking about, because the chat has got me off going to everything else. And hey, people are talking about Matt Burkeen for announcer win. Yeah, dude, they should definitely give that guy a shot for sure. I love his stuff. He's a fast mofo on a two-stroke. Surprised that he wasn't trying to get up there. But if we talk about some of the announcers, David Pingree, well established. He's got some podcasts. He did a good job. I do think Buddy Antunez is a little bit better of an announcer. And Buddy, dude, he's been around the sport forever. They've got a good setup there. What they've done with Arena Cross is they're basically taking it from the depths of going bankrupt, and they're building something completely new out of it, and they're changing everything. But the clickbaity title of what I was trying to talk about, okay, is you had Simone. Who knows what happened? Like, I'm really praying for this guy that he's not paralyzed or nothing going on, because they did load him onto a back stretcher. But on the start, he got pushed in by I believe, A-Rod into the wall, and nobody was able to get to him for almost the entire race. However, you do know that Arena Cross is 20, 30-second lap times. So if it's a 10-lap main event, it's 5 minutes. That's not a very long time to wait to red flag it. So I will say that. However, we still wish that you would get these guys red flags sooner so that they could get medical attention ASAP. Same thing that happened in like the Baja 1000, where you've got some riders like Walker, where he couldn't get flight for life. They had to go drive like 8 hours to get him into the hospital because there were supposed to be 2 flight for lives and it never showed up. You know, that stuff should just never happen, especially in 2023. But my point here, what the AMA did was Peters and Breeze were racing for the win, and Breeze actually got around Peters. And you guys all have timing chips. They know where you're out on the track because they time you multiple times. It's not just the finish line, so they can tell if you're cutting the track or not. Breeze was in the lead. But that next lap, when they red flagged it, which was basically should have been the white flag, they gave the win to Peters. And Breeze said as much on the podium as he's like, WTF, what is that? Right? And it's not Arena Cross's fault because they're not the race director. You're under the sanctioning body when it comes to those rules. So this was an AMA problem. So what was AMA thinking by going, hey, we're just going to revert to the lap before the red flag to whoever won the race? So like at that point, you might as well just go back to the whole shot. Whoever got the whole shot wins the race. So that's just how it is. So I do disagree with that. I think they should have been able to, at least over that last red flag, cut it from there, or some sort of a segment after the whoops, wherever the timing chip was. That's where I think they should have done it. So Breeze should have gotten that first main event win. But pretty much it's Breeze and Peters right up front for both nights. And there was no J-Law. No J-Law. Not surprised that there was no J-Law. Jason Lawrence. If some people that are living under a rock don't know him, he had a deal with Phoenix Honda and it just fell out, right? And there's speculation out there that he didn't want to drop a gate and he was just same old, same old. So I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt that his word is what he says actually happened. They didn't want him to race. However, you do have to at least hear both sides of the story, and I have not talked to Phoenix Honda, but it is a bummer that he's not there because I do know a lot more people would be viewing it. I know a lot of people that around my circle would be going to Arena Cross All Access, and guys, I'm not getting paid by Arena Cross. I don't have a coupon code for you. I mean, honestly, that's a pretty good idea to get a coupon code to give to you, you know, to help the channel out, right? You guys subscribe, Hopper gets a little kickback. I mean, that's just monetizing. It's just being smart, you know, financially educated. That just would have been a smart thing to do, but I did not do that. So anyway, I think you guys should support, and it's a good value. It's a really good value. You get a lot of racing. It's a lot of racing when it comes to, again, those 4 heat races, 2 semis, 2 LCQs, a 1v1 race, and then you've got the 2 mains and the B main. It's just packed with racing. Yes, smaller stadiums, the track's not as good, and then you could also argue that some of the riders aren't the best, but I mean, I really enjoyed World Supercross, and there was quite honestly not as much of the top tier talent there. And even the Australian Supercross, I really enjoyed that stuff, and there was deeper talent, but there's all good. My point being is that there's lots of really good racing here, and it's Sunday night, and I probably need to go run to the store to get some more cough medicine, to use that stuff as shots. I don't know, maybe a little bit of Crown and some cough medicine might do be good. I'm not promoting any of that stuff. Anyway, for all the moto guys out there that you got just a small little fever, I mean, come on, guys, let's be real. We've been hurt so many times that we're babies, right? That's why we get a pretty girl to look after us, because grown men, we're just little crybabies. Like, in front of each other at the track, your finger could be going the completely other direction, and you're like, I'm good, man, I'm good, I'm solid, just put it back in place. But then when you're back home, with your wife or your girlfriend taking care of it, you're just a big baby. We like to be teddy bears. I just, maybe it's just, I don't know. I'm pretty sure pretty much every badass that I've met that knows how to twist a throttle, they're complete little sissies when it comes to being by themselves with their little group. At the track, man, no, they're hardened criminals, man. They're rock solid. They don't even shed blood. It's just grunting. I don't even know where I'm going with this. Anyway, till next time, everybody. See you guys in 2024, but there's still gonna be more stuff going. And see, I'm still digressing and keeping this on here, but it's time. What time is it? It's 7:11. Oh, that's a good segue. We could go on about that stuff. Maybe I'm talking too much because of other reasons, but anyway. Oh yeah, appreciate the chat, guys. Bro.